Hey everyone, I already did my skincare prep so we can get right into the tutorial. As you can tell by the title, we're doing a holiday look today. So to begin, I'm starting with my House Labs foundation, and I like to spread this out evenly onto my face with this little flat foundation brush. I just got back from vacation and I was a little bit concerned that it was too light, but my face is naturally darker than my neck anyways, and this foundation matches close enough to my neck, so I figured it would be fine, right? Although as I was blending it out, I was starting to second guess myself because it was looking a little light here, right? But once it was all blended out, honestly, it looked fine. So I like to blend out my foundation with this Real Techniques flat foundation brush. And then afterwards, I always go in with a beauty blender just to make sure that it's all blended in and melted into my skin. Then next for concealer, I like to use the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Cocoa. And I'm just applying this to the areas that I want to highlight. So this is underneath my eyes, on my forehead, my chin, down the bridge of my nose, and underneath my cheekbones for a little reverse contouring, the usual spots. And then I like to blend out everywhere except for underneath my eyes with that same foundation brush. And I'm using light tapping motions to blend it in and to keep the concealer concentrated in that area. And then for underneath my eyes, I always use a damp beauty blender because this just gives the best finish under the eyes in my opinion. And also this Too Faced concealer is honestly the only concealer I've ever tried that doesn't cause excessive creasing underneath my eyes. So let me know what your favorite concealer is, but to me, there's nothing that can top this. I will just keep buying this over and over and over again for as long as they continue to make it. Now here, I don't know what possessed me to do this because my face was already looking a little bit light anyways, but I was like, let me try taking this lighter shade of the Too Faced concealer and really brighten my under eyes. I don't know, that's what I see the girlies on Instagram doing, so I was like, let me just try a really bright under eye today. And I actually kind of liked it. It came out cute underneath my eyes, so as you can see, I just blended it out with that same damp beauty blender. And then after that, I was like, okay, let me try putting some in some other places too. So I put a little bit down the bridge of my nose and on the tip. And this actually came out cute too. It gave some more definition to my nose, which I really liked. So I blended that out with my fingers first and then followed up with my beauty blender. And see here, this is where I should have just stopped. But I went in and also put some above my Cupid's bow and on my chin, which I think was unnecessary because like I mentioned, my face was already too light anyways. But anyways, I blended it out with a beauty blender and this is what it was looking like. And then next I went in with my favorite e.l.f. blush. This is in the shade Bronze Bombshell. These blushes are so pigmented, you guys. If you haven't used them yet, definitely give them a try. It always looks a little scary in the beginning, but you just got to keep blending it out. And when I'm blending it out, I blend it underneath my eyes too. So I blend it in with my concealer and I bring it up towards my temples as well. I don't know, I just really love when my blush stands out and makes my cheeks pop. Also, does anyone else get a little bit hyper and excited when they're doing their makeup, or is it just me? I was acting a fool a little bit, but it's because I could tell it was going to be a really, really good makeup day. So I was just a little excited, Now moving on to one of my favorite parts, we are using the Laura Mercier setting powder. So I'm taking my beauty blender again and I like to tap off the excess powder on the back of my hand. Then I'm going in underneath my eyes and you can just see already how smooth that looks. It's so perfect. And then I also apply some onto my eyelids to set them. I put some on my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, my chin, above my Cupid's bow, just all the areas that I put the concealer. And then next, I'm taking the brown shade of the Laura Mercier powder. This is my first time trying this, and I'm putting it underneath my cheekbones because I felt like the regular one sometimes can look a little ashy. So I bought the deeper brown shade, and I'm using that to set the rest of my face too. But honestly, I think it kind of looks the same as the original one. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it still makes your face look a little ashy regardless. Like there is a little bit of brown tint, I guess, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference in my opinion. But it's still fine. I still like the setting powder. It does what it needs to do. And then for absolutely no reason, I was just being unnecessary and extra. Again, I decided to bake underneath my eyes. I think I'm just obsessed with setting powder, to be honest. But now moving on, we can add some much needed color and dimension back into our face with bronzer. So I'm taking my Fenty bronzer in the shade Thick Mint. You guys can see how I've hit pan with this. I need to buy a new one soon. This is another product that I will keep buying over and over again for as long as they make it. And I'm just putting this around the perimeter of my face, the usual spots, forehead, cheekbones, chin. And then I also went in onto my eyelids with a small blending brush. I'm going to do my eyeshadow in a bit, but I just went ahead and applied some bronzer all over my eyelids first. And I put some down the sides of my nose too. And my nose was actually looking kind of snatched and defined today, okay? I never do it like this. But again, this is what I see the girlies on Instagram doing. So I was like, let me just try. And I actually really liked it. Okay, and now I'm moving on to eyebrows. I'm using the NYX Micro Eyebrow Pencil, and I just use little light strokes to fill in my brows. My main priority with my eyebrows is extending the tail and also filling in the front to give my brows a little bit more length and definition. So I just go back and forth between the spoolie and the pencil until it's all filled in and brushed in nicely. I also like to carve out the tail of my brows and underneath the arch with my concealer. Now for this, don't use a concealer shade that's too light because it's just going to look really obvious. So either use one that matches your skin tone or just 1 to 2 shades lighter. And then I just blend it out with my fingers. I think this just gives your eyebrows a more precise and professional look. Just don't use too much concealer here and you'll be good. Now for my eyes, I went back in with a little bit more bronzer into the crease. And for eyeshadow, I'm using this mini Morphe palette. I'll be sure to link it below. I can't remember the name. And I'm just taking that light peachy shade and mixing it in with the white shade above it. And I'm putting this all over my lid. And guys, let me tell you, this is such a simple look, but these colors look so good to me. Those two colors on my eyelid with the bronzer in the crease, it looks so amazing. And I really barely did anything, but I love it so much. I was obsessed with this eye look today. And then with nothing else on this blending brush, I'm just going back into the crease, to make sure the colors are all blended together. Then next, I took the dark brown shade in the palette and I'm putting this onto the outer corner of my eyes and a little bit into my crease. It's really not that much darker than my bronzer shade, but it added a little bit of depth to my eyes and I just took my time blending that in. Then to finish it off, I went back in with a little bit more of those two lighter shades on the inner part of my lid, and that was really it. Next, I swept away that setting powder that was baking under my eyes, and I added a little bit of the dark brown shade onto my lower lash line, and then I used my same blending brush to diffuse out that color. Now next, I like to do some tight lining on my waterline and my lash line as well. I personally really like the look of a black liner on my eyes. I always do this now. And then I also did a wing liner, which came out so good today. So for my liner, I like to line my eyelids first, and then I do a little flick at the end and I connect the tail to the liner on my lash line just like this. And I'm using the KVD Beauty Liner. I've been using this liner forever and it has never failed me. And look at how precise and sharp the liner came out today. I just knew it was going to be a good makeup look today. I could just feel it from when I put on that blush earlier that it was going to be a good makeup look today. Now moving along, I'm taking my Anastasia stick highlighter and I'm applying this to the areas that I want to highlight a little bit more. So I applied some to my inner corner, down the bridge of my nose, on my brow bones and cheekbones. I'm really not using too much here. And then I'm taking my little blush brush from earlier and blending that all out. I think this just adds a nice little glow to my face. And then for my inner corner, I didn't really like the way that highlighter looked. So I actually took the white shade in the eyeshadow palette and popped that into my inner corner. And I like that a lot better. And now we can move on to lips. So I wiped off any concealer and residue that was on my lips. And then I went in with this dark brown liner. This is actually an eyeliner from Annabelle, but I just love this shade so much. So I use it on my lips and just rub my lips together to blend it all in. And now for the star of the show, I'm trying this Sephora red lipstick that I got as a free sample actually. And I was like, let me just try this out. So I was a little bit nervous here because I had no idea what to expect, but look at that color. I was like, oh, okay, it's actually the perfect red shade for me. And it went on so smoothly. It's easy to apply. And I really like that it's a lip stain because I hate when red lipstick gets all over the place. Like if you're wearing a creamy red lipstick or gloss, it can just smudge all over the place, right? But this actually stays in place and it doesn't budge. So I really like that. The only thing is it is a lip stain, so it's going to dry down matte and your lips are going to feel a bit dry. That's the only downside to it. So be sure to use a good lip balm before you put it on. I forgot to do that here and that was my mistake. Or you might want to put on a gloss on top if you don't like that dry feeling. Then next, to pull the look together, I took some of the lip stain onto the back of my hand and I lightly tapped my blush brush into it and applied that onto my cheeks. And I think this just really tied the look together and brought out my cheeks a bit more. And then I was so excited about the red lip, I almost forgot about my lashes. So I just quickly popped on some lashes and mascara. And then I fixed up my eyeliner as well to make sure that everything was good. And that's pretty much the look, you guys. I think it came out so perfect today. And another thing that I really like about this lipstick is that it's also buildable. So I did go in with another layer on top to bring out the color, and it was still looking smooth and even onto my lips. So I'm really happy with it. I actually went out and ate a bowl of pho afterwards, and that lipstick was still on my lips without making a mess. So I'm very impressed. Shout out to Sephora for this little free sample. I think this is the perfect classic red lip look for the holidays. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. It was a lot of fun filming it. Please let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see from me next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.